This is the updated 2024 model of the Volkswagen ID3, and that's the red one. That's the old version. This video is about comparing the actual differences between these two cars. But before we do that, let me just go through some facts about the ID3 in general. It measures 4.26 meters and have a wheelbase of 2.77 meters. This car is equipped with a small battery pack of 58 kilowatt hours of net capacity and 62 kilowatt hours of gross capacity. NMC battery, so you normally only charge it to 80 or 90% to preserve the battery life. WLTP range of the standard version is 431 kilometers. This one though has a 19-inch wheels and loses 4 kilometers, so 427 in WLTP range for this specific car. It has a top speed of 160 kilometers per hour and does 0 to 100 in 7.4 seconds. When it comes to charging, there is a slight update. The old version could charge in 100 kilowatts of a peak speed when it comes to DC charging, fast charging. This one actually has 120. When it comes to home charging, AC charging, it supports 11 kilowatts and 3 phases. That's the same as the old one. Let's look into the practical aspects of the ID3. Storage-wise, the same space, 385 liters, no frunk on this car, extra storage underneath, plenty of storage actually, and a third level for storing cables and repair kits, etc. Foldable seats split into two, 40, 60, and a load tunnel in the middle for loading and storing long things like skis, etc. You just open it from here, really practical. So for extra practicality, you can actually add a tow hitch, not for towing, but for extra practicality and cargo. So you open this one and connect your hitch to it, and you can add a extra cargo box, or for instance, a bike rack. So let's move on and look at the differences between the old ID3 and this new one. So let's start with some obvious external differences, and let's start with the front and the bonnet. As you see here, the old one has the big plastic cover, a big kind of a plastic spoiler on top of the hood. I think that's more or less to protect the windshield wipers from the airflow. This one doesn't have that one. So as you see here on the side, if you look at the side profile, you clearly see that the plastic part is removed and it's a more sleekly designed hood with some added accents on top of the hood. So if you see it from the front, it looks more clean, but from the side, I'm really not sure. It looks a bit strange with the added profile to the side. I'm not used to it yet, but it of course gives the car a bit more scaled off exterior, and it also lowers the drag coefficient because you don't have this extra part that adds some extra air resistance. Another change in the front is the front spoiler. It's a bit more sleek, a bit more aggressive with this vertical air intakes that goes into the wheel arches for efficiency and lowering the drag coefficient. So the drag coefficient is a tad lower for added range. I think it differs like 1 or 2 or 3 kilometers compared to the old version, so not by much, but it also gives a more sleek and sporty design than the older one. The last change here at the front is the headlights. Now this is the extra IQ light headlights. That car is equipped with the standard lights, but the standard light variant in the new version does look a bit different compared to that one. Another change that's noticeable from the outside is to be seen on the side profile of the car, and that's the silver trim starting at the A-pillar going all the way back to the boot. And that one actually articulates the roofline a bit more and creates a bit more dynamic side profile of the car compared to the black trim on the older one. You probably also noticed the new wheels. This is the 19-inch Wellington wheels, did not exist back in 2022. So before we move on to the interior changes, let me know in the comments what you think about the exterior changes. Is it big enough? Does it make sense? Does it look better now than before? Write in the comments below and let us have a discussion. Let's jump in and check the interior. When it comes to the interior, I think one of the biggest complaints about the ID3 is all the plastics. It's a lot of plastics and hard plastics all over the car. I mean, some of it are of course recycled and there is a purpose of it, but still I think the consumers for that price point was a bit disappointed over the feel of the quality at least. Let's start with the door trims at the back. I mean, there's a lot of hard plastics, some kind of a wavy shape on the old version. The only soft part on the inside of the doors is actually this one, and it's semi-soft. It's a bit soft, but not that cushioned as you could expect. Otherwise, hard plastics everywhere. Let's look at the new car. And as you see here, a new design, the same piano black finish, but soft touch here, all the way up here, and of course also the armrest itself. A new design around the speaker and a better feel and look to that one. Also, the handle is more integrated, or at least integrated in a better looking way than on the old version. Let's move on to the front doors. So as you see here, almost the exact same design as in the rear door. Hard plastic all the way. The whole door is actually covered in hard plastics. The same black piano finish and some soft touch here, but very limited amount of soft touch. The door handle is, as in the back, kind of integrated or molded into the trim of the door. Looks a bit too simple and cheap if you ask me, and the plastics here are actually horrible. Let's look at the new one. And as you see here, the same design elements as at the back, but soft touch here at the top. Of course, also the fabric here, soft touch, cushioned armrests, the same black piano finish, and also a redesigned bottom part with the speaker grills covering and going through the whole bottom of the door. Gives the door a bit more of a premium feeling, both when you look at it, but also when you feel it. So this one is actually a lot better than the old version. So let's move on to the interior materials and the dashboard. And when looking at the dashboard, it looks very similar to the new one. Hard plastics at the top. This one is some kind of rubberized soft plastic. Here, hard plastic, so rock hard plastic, the same as on the top here. So this is really not on par with the price. And when you look at the center screen, the media screen in this case is 10-inch. And we're gonna look at the new one in the new car. Otherwise, the interior looks the same, the materials feels a bit different. When it comes to the seat, this is the basic seats for the old version. Does not exist anymore. I think they are a bit too light and prone to stains. And I really don't like the color of it. The color combination is a bit weird. I prefer darker seats, or at least when you want to have light seats, give me real light seats, not these ones. But they are made of some kind of recycled plastics bottles, so it's sustainable and good in that manner. Let's move on to the new car. So now inside the updated ID.3, and you immediately see and feel that it's a bit more premium. One reason for that is, of course, the darker materials and the darker choices. I mean, the dashboard is more unicolor, same hard plastics at the top. This one is also the same rubberized cushion material. The ambient lighting goes in the same position as in the old car. But now to the actual change, and that's this part. This part is now covered in kind of a leatherette, fake leather, with stitching on top. Looks a lot better than the hard plastic. It's not soft and there is not much travel in it, but still it's a lot better feeling than the hard plastic in the old version. The air vents also look a bit different, looks a bit more sophisticated and more in line with the door sides, matching the door trims and the handles on the doors in a better way. Also the mid console. The ID.3 logo in the middle is also a new addition to the interior. Otherwise, the look and the positioning of everything is exactly the same. The dash is actually exactly the same as in the old one, but with a more premium look and feel to it. And I have made two other undocumented observations. The first one is that the ID light, the light on top of the dashboard, seems to be discontinued in the new model. The second change is a slight difference in the steering wheel. It now seems to be fake leather instead of real leather, and now has a bit more padding inside it. The main attraction of this car, the updated screen, looks exactly the same, so it's really hard to tell the difference. So if you just jump in, you won't notice it that much because it looks very similar or exactly the same as the old one, but you really see that it is bigger. It's more than 2 inches wider or bigger than the old screen, and that really makes a great difference. This is now more reasonable sized compared to the 10-inch screen, so this gives me at least more of a 2024 feeling than the older, smaller screen. One disappointing thing is that Volkswagen did not add backlighting to the buttons on top or just underneath the screen here. The volume knobs and the climate controls still gets very dark during night and hard to find and use during nighttime. So that's a disappointment. Another thing that I prefer with this car is actually the seats. They look a lot better and feels a lot better than the seats in the old car. This feels more premium in the materials. Those one feels a lot plasticky. And I guess that's because of the materials they have used, the sustainable material. I guess this is not as sustainable as the old car had, but they look a lot better. It gives me a much more settled and premium feeling than the old seats. And the updated and better usability is not only due to a bigger 12-inch screen compared to the old 10-inch screen, it's also about the software. So this one is actually running the latest software 3.5 compared to my old car that's running 2.4. And I'm actually struggling, and have been struggling for a while now, to be able to update it to 3.0. I need to visit the service center and schedule a time for doing that, so it's really giving me headache because sometimes I can't even schedule my charging because it doesn't work. This one, the 3.5, has really been going for the better, still lacks some functionality and have some bugs. I have been discovering some bugs regarding volume, etc. Sometimes it doesn't work to adjust the volume in some certain cases, but never mind that details now. But as you see, the software has been getting better, especially getting more functions. One example of that is the climate functionality. Now there's something called Smart Climate. That's a function I don't have in my car. That means that you can activate smart functions like automatically turning on the steering wheel heating when cold outside. You have some smart things like warm my feet, rapid heating, rapid cooling, etc. So a bit better functionality for the climate control and climate functions. You also have a function called Air Care, and that's a function for cleaning the air from particles inside the cabin. That's also something I don't have in my car. Other changes is added functionality like games. Didn't exist before. So now you have games you can play like word games, solitaire, chess, simple car game, Volkswagen car game, bubbles. So now you can actually play some games inside the car whilst charging, for instance. One example is the car game where you can drive Volkswagen cars in a classical manner. This is probably kind of a game you all will recognize. Very simple, but yet effective for killing some time. Yeah, I guess you get the point. The good thing is that there is new things, new functions. The software is finally getting some involvement and evolution, new functions. But all in all, the software experience is not the best, has never been in Volkswagen's ID cars. Unfortunately, there is a lot of room for improvement. But the thing that actually saves Volkswagen from catastrophe in this case is the support of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And that's also wireless, so not by wire, and it works really good. I'm using it all the time. For instance, Android Auto, I'm using Spotify, and together with this big screen, it really enhances the user experience, makes it easier, but also more attractive to look at. And this Android Auto functionality works really flawless, if you ask me. And I love that it is wireless, so it also adds some smartness to your car with the support of Google Assistant. So you can activate the Google Assistant by long pressing the voice command. Okay, Google, what's the weather tomorrow?
Currently in Jakobsberg, it's 7 degrees and cloudy. Today, it'll be cloudy with a forecasted high of 8
I
and a low.
mean, you get the point. Google Assistant is always good. It's always good to have some AI and some assistance in your car that works better than the built-in AI and voice assist. Some smartness added, and without Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, the software would really leave a lot to wish for the end user. But in this case, saved by the bell. So this is the actual changes on the inside of the Volkswagen ID3 updated version compared to the old version. The central console looks exactly the same with the piano blacks, the Qi charger, the 2 USB-C ports here at the front, 2 USB-C ports at the back. No changes in that manner. Everything else looks exactly the same as in the old car. When it comes to the drivetrain and battery pack, it's exactly the same as in the old car. So 204 horsepower, 310 Newton meters of torque. So no different at all when it comes to that one. Doesn't have the new motor yet and does have the same battery pack, same battery chemistry as the old version. So this is the biggest differences between the updated ID3 2024 model compared to the old version. Do you think the changes justifies the current price point? If you ask me, I still think it's a bit too expensive compared to the competition on the market. But I must say that the update, especially on the inside, even if it's subtle, makes a big difference. The materials are better. The looks and the feel you get is a bit more sophisticated, and the bigger screen really helps out to create a better user experience of the car. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Let us have a discussion. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And as I always say, stay electric. Thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.